Bleh. All right, so for this last record, I know what this is. This just arrived. I couldn't help but order this record because it's one of my favorite fucking records of all time. And I don't own it on vinyl. I don't own it. I only own a really shitty MP3 version of it that I've been listening to for almost 20 years now. And so it was time to upgrade. This is also Pixies related. This is Frank Black, Teenager of the Year, baby. Teenager of the Year. And this is a very special edition of this record. Now, this is a release. Frank Black puts a lot more effort into his releases than Black Francis. For those of you who are unaware, Frank Black and Black Francis are the same person. I'm just gonna slice that open real quick. Oh no, but the fucking, well, what was I supposed to do? How was I? Oh well, I guess I could have kept that together. I messed that up. Don't worry, we're gonna save that sticker though. I'm gonna save the sticker somehow. I don't like to lose the stickers, man. We're gonna salvage that in a minute. Look at that. Look at Frank. So in my new film called My Shadow, there's a Halloween ball called the Jovial Halloween Ball where a king and queen are announced. This is in the movie. A single couple will be announced as the king and queen of the Jovial Halloween Ball and awarded. They're recognized as the Teenagers of the Year. And as the Teenager of the Year, they get a special prize. They get to go to the Blueberry Lagoon. That's right. And that's something I just came up with. That's my story. But Teenager of the Year is what Frank Black was a accolade that Charles Thompson, aka Frank Black, aka Black Francis, he won this accolade in high school. He was awarded Teenager of the Year. And so for his second post-Pixies record, after his self-titled record that came out in 93, and this came out in 1994, he put out Teenager of the Year. It's a double album. I got to tell you, this record is, I mean, so many of these songs could have been Pixie songs. Wow. Look at that. I've never actually seen like the layout. Look at this. Let me open this up for you. This gatefold madness. Those are all the lyrics right there, I think. Sorry. These are all the lyrics right here. And it's 22 songs, 11 songs per side. And oh, wow. Look at that. Here's what he says. Sometime in the early 80s, I'd have to look up the date. I matriculated high school. The school held an awards banquet for some of their departing students at the school. I received an award called the Teenager of the Year Award. My brother received the same award the following year. Our award was a $50 credit for textbooks, a Teenager of the Year medallion. My mother still has this, and also the banquet hall dinner, soup to nuts. My brother and I had no complaint about the award. It was given for being an all-around good guy as best as we could determine, but for such a grand title to be given as Teenager of the Year, I felt the glory had to be amplified. I felt the glory had not been amplified enough. In 1993, I was doing quote-unquote solo recording sessions with Eric Drew Feldman in Los Angeles. We had settled on a core band with Nick Vincent and Lyle Workman, occasionally augmented by Joey Santiago and Morris Tepper. Though we had to change studios numerous times for actual forest fires and earthquakes, the whole process was such an addictive musical buffet that Eric and I couldn't stop. We did some vocals at the studio, rumored to be owned by Sergio Mendes. In the control room was a wall of television screens broadcasting the brush fire, which crept towards us. We eventually evacuated to someplace else. We never met Sergio, but we saw him perform a few weeks later when we vacated to Las Vegas after the Northridge earthquake, which had trapped the Teenager of the Year tapes in the studio vault for some time. Our zeal plus empathy from our financiers, they safely observing our travails from London, was enough to keep the money flowing until Eric and I relented and declared, I don't know what that means. It's Latin, consumatum est. We tried to make it grand, 22 in 62. I call it Teenager of the Year. It's 30 years old now, and I'm excited to be taking it back out on the road with the original band. So they're actually coming to play, and I got to see him live. I have to do it. He looks white on the album cover, though. I mean, he is, oh yeah, I get it. Is his solo stuff similar to Pixies? So this record, his first three records are very are much closer to Pixies. And then after his third record called The Cult of Ray, he starts to get into the Frank Black and the Catholics, and that he goes on a completely different avenue. Look at that gold vinyl, very very nice. Very excited to listen to this. I've been listening to this record for, as I said, long time, close to 20 years. I've been listening to this record. I love it. I love it dearly, and it was about time I owned it in a proper format. And so I'm very excited to give this a spin. Let's look at the other disc, see if it. So here is. This is just more liner notes. I don't need to. 14 basics recorded in 3 days. At that point, Charles was often sitting in a corner, staring off into space, composing lyrics, looking anxious. Joey and Morris were invited to do what they do. Initially, it was a 14-song album. It was mixed. Eric Idle was staying nearby. He kept telling me to change the songs around. Al had to run off and go to his next project. We weren't completely happy with what we had. The solution, record more songs. 8 more were born. Whole shebang was remixed by Dave Bianco. The day before we were to start the remix, the 1994 earthquake happened. Charles, Jean, who's Charles' first wife, and I escaped to Las Vegas and ate many shrimp cocktails. And we saw Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons and Sergio Mendes in Brazil 99 perform. Sergio was especially good. After about 5 days, we returned to mixing studio to face the music. That's from Eric Drew Feldman. Eric Drew Feldman also contributed heavily to Trompe Le Monde and was kind of like almost in the Pixies at the very end there. And this is put out by 4AD. It's a 45 RPM, which I guess is technically a higher fidelity, right? Technically, I believe so. Don't quote me on that. It's amazing how, though this is by 4AD, which I guess makes sense. This release is so much nicer than the new Pixies record. I never thought I'd be happier to be holding a Frank Black release than a friggin' new Pixies release.